Namaste and welcome to the Divas That Care Network. I'm your host, Gia-Raquel Rose, owner of Airs Above Yoga, and you are listening to Above the Ground podcast. If this is your first time tuning in, our network is going into its 15th year and is listened to in over 30 countries. I would like to personally thank you for giving me the gift of your time. As always, it is my honor to hold space with you. And today we have a very, very special guest, Erin Kinkin, and she is going to be one of my favorite interviews, I can tell already, simply because we get to geek out on all things crystal. So she has
Yes.
she is an entrepreneur, a mom, and a full-time doer of all the things because she has been in business now for a number of years, and her business is creating beautiful artwork and pieces of jewelry. And I will let her get into all of the aspects of what she creates based on energetic frequency, based on the frequency of the crystals, how she got into it, and I will let her share all that with you. But I hope I did some honor to you in that introduction, Erin,
Oh
and
my
welcome.
gosh.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I felt so special. Thank you so much. That was so kind. Well, it's so lovely, yeah, to be here with you too. I'm so excited to learn more about all the things you're doing because you have a lot of things you're encompassing and doing. It's incredible. We already talked a little about the
Yes.
crystals, and we have a lot in common.
We do. We have tons in common. So I am very excited that your mom brought us together, and
Yep.
I love the divine female energy
My
that
mom has
came
been a
together.
pivotal, she's a very strong woman. She's been very pivotal in
Yes.
my journey towards creating this business and being interested in crystals. So she's definitely
Yep.
been like a figurehead to like guide me towards this. Even we just, we had very interesting conversations as a kid, and she's very open-minded. So
She is. Your mom is awesome. I love her. I
she's
love her.
great.
So shout out to Wes. So how did you get started into your affinity for crystals?
Yeah. So it started when I was a child. I was a kid in the backyard digging in the ground, finding quartz, finding pyrite, knowing it was special, thinking it was treasure 'cause it is.
Yep.
But I knew there was an energy to it. But then the very pivotal time was when my grandma, my dad's mom, gave me a piece of Lemurian quartz. At the time, I just thought it was a gorgeous, clear stone. I was 10. I've kept it with me all of these years. Now I know it's Lemurian, which is amazing, an ancient civilization, very
Yeah.
energetic. But that was kind of a pivotal time. I started creating a collection of stones probably around that age. My mom had gemology books around the house. I would read those. And then I went to college and kind of kept the stones with me, but I wasn't like super focused on them. I was studying other things. And
Right.
then when I graduated, I had a very tumultuous time. I was going to be moving to Virginia. I wasn't necessarily tumultuous, but I was nervous to leave New Jersey
Yeah.
for the first time. My mom took me to Three Buttons in Frenchtown, which was owned by Elizabeth Gilbert.
Yes, I love Three Buttons. Of course, I've been there.
You've been there. We have so much in
Yes.
common.
Yes, it's the best. It's the
It,
best.
it was the best place ever, and it's not there anymore. But it's not that, well, at least it hasn't, when I went, it wasn't there anymore. I don't know, maybe
Oh,
it's coming
that's
back, but it's not, I don't think it's there. So we were like, oh my
oh
gosh. So we
no.
stumbled upon it, I think it was 2013.
Yeah.
Um, and that's kind of when I picked out a bunch of stones that I still have today in the crystal meaning, like citrine and like what it means. And
Yep.
then that really just pushed me into this like journey of like realizing, yes, I have all these stones, but they all have their own specific meaning.
Yeah. And energy that they resonate, and we're talking all about solar plexus chakra and female empowerment and
Hmm.
tapping into your inner power and your inner fire. And citrine, just as a note because you brought it up, is obviously one of the fundamental crystals to support your inner
So,
fire, your yes, and
yes.
your beautiful sun pendant, your solar
Oh, thank
plexus,
you.
and all that internal feminine energy. And in yoga, the divine masculine is usually associated with the sun, but I still
Yes,
think
the
that it doesn't.
yin.
Right. Well, yes. But essentially in yoga, there's two sides, right? There's the lunar feminine receptive side and the solar masculine side. It's generally left for feminine, right for masculine.
Mhm.
Um, but when we're talking about the solar plexus chakra, that's kind of the center of it all, right? Like that's the power center of the body, no matter what you're talking about. So I think that's absolutely beautiful and a wonderful example of your work to show everyone. So thank you so much for wearing that. And it's citrine
Yeah.
inside.
Yeah, actually, this one's
Yeah.
actually quartz. So this is actually
Oh, it's
quartz with
quartz.
mica in it. But I should have
Okay.
worn citrine. I should have worn it today. And the other stone I was going to wear was Amazonite. That's good for balancing the divine feminine.
Yep, I love Amazonite. So tell me a little bit about so for you, it's I know you have multiple different aspects. So you have pure crystal jewelry, but then you also have you do something wonderful with resin that I'm not going to pretend to understand. So can you go into a
Yeah,
little bit for everybody what
I'd be happy.
your a little bit of your process without giving away trade secrets, of course,
Of course.
and just what you create because it's absolutely beautiful.
Thank you so much.
You're
Well, yeah,
welcome.
sure. So I was introduced to Organite actually once again by my mom. So Organite, she showed me a piece of Organite, which is an EMF protection device. It's quartz and copper cured into resin, and the copper acts as like a conductor of the quartz. Kind of the theory is to protect you from electromagnetic frequency like 5G,
Nice.
or um, Wi-Fi, things like that. People are
Yeah.
nervous about having too much of that near them, and they'll put like an organite pyramid near their computer.
Beautiful.
Thank you. There's one. Actually,
That's
this is citrine. There you go. That
that's
was
there you go.
very
So it's
hesitantly. I
there.
had
We
it.
have it.
It was
We
right
have it.
here.
It's with us in spirit and in
You're
practice.
right. And I was kind of creating like that, the organite specifically, just organite at first, but then I strayed away from it because in organite it's only really quartz. Sometimes citrine is quartz really too, but
Yeah.
it's obviously just a mineral inside of it. But I started straying away and kind of going towards just resin. So I was doing huge resin paintings. I was very familiar with the resin as an art and like doing ocean paintings. But with when I had my first son, I realized I left my job after he was born, and I was just starting to create things for fun, smaller items, and I started carrying quartz and not just quartz, but all types of stones like lapis lazuli, amazonite, citrine into resin. And when I would cure
Nice.
them in and make pendants for people I loved, I realized the energy radiating from them was stronger. And I kind of went into this process of like studying it, wondering why, and remembering like organite as well. But this isn't organite, it's just stones in resin. When the resin puts pressure and cures around the stone, it amplifies the energy of the stone within, and it effectively surrounds you in like an aura of that energy. So let's
That's
see, I
awesome.
do have like an Amazonite here, which is very good for
That's
divine
beautiful.
feminine. And there's
Yeah.
Amazonite, gold leaf, just for beauty, and the
Yeah.
resin. And I call them amplified energy. And that is my little like trademark thing that I'm doing now that I spoke with you about earlier, that
Yeah.
I'm in the process of.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm
You're
process of
welcome.
like
That's awesome.
getting that settled, but it's a really interesting process of how it works. But I enjoy speaking with people and figuring out something that like an energy they need, and we find a crystal tailored for them. And when I put it into the resin, and they wear it, yeah, it amplifies the energy. But it's also psychology. When you're putting on a pendant of an energy that you need, you're reminding yourself of your own inner power to be able to like accomplish what you want to do or follow your own path.
Yeah, it's a physical manifestation of intention setting is how I look at it, right?
Absolutely,
And you can
exactly. It's like
charge
it's
like
tangible.
right, yeah, and you can charge crystals with your
Yes,
intention and energy. Obviously, it's
yes,
best to have a crystal that is in alignment already. Like if you need to be grounded using a black tourmaline, something, something to that effect,
absolutely. Yeah,
or even like hematite, something like that. But if you're looking for, like you said with the Amazonite, something for balancing or drive with citrine, right? Like having that intention and kind of knowing enough or talking to someone like us or starting to do your own research into what kind of crystals can best support the intention that you have for yourself. But first you have to come up with that intention, right? So like
absolutely.
you have to have that sense of self-awareness. But I'm a firm believer, everything has energy, right? In this
Yeah.
world, everything has energy. And I love we were talking a little bit before we jumped on, and you mentioned that even your quartz countertops have
Hmm.
energy, and like that's something that I will say with the other business that I'm in that I never really think about, but it's so true,
Yeah, I
right?
know. I think about it all the time. I go in to see a gorgeous quartz countertop, and I'm like, "This is energy." We have one in our kitchen. I'm like touching it, and my husband Mike, he's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "This holds the energy of the house." Like, I mean, everything
Yeah.
has energy. Like you said, trees, of course, they're living beings, but
Yep.
stones are not. But stones carry so much energy. This ancient wisdom. They were
Yep.
created by the same creator that created us, by like God and Mother Nature. It's all one, but it's so fascinating. Even the stones, like if you have a gravel driveway, you pick them up. It's like they may just look gray and not special, but they are. They have an energy.
They do. It all does, and it's all like that's just like humans and just like animals. It's similar, but it's different, right? We're all
Yeah.
part of the same energy, but we all have our little like snowflake blueprint, right? And
Yeah,
crystals are very much the
exactly.
same.
I love
Even
that.
the same kind of crystal carries its own specific energy, right?
Yeah.
And I've when I did have a piece of Lemurian quartz as well, and it's like certain stones, and this is something that, and I want to ask about this, but that you kind of have to really tap into yourself to be able to tune into. But I do love, like, when I held the Lemurian quartz for the first time, I felt like, I'm going to use the word heavy, but I don't mean heavy in a bad way. I mean heavy in a strong way. It had
Yeah.
like weight, gravitas, if you will,
Yes,
to it,
yes, yes.
right?
Uh,
And I was able to feel that. And then there are certain, like, I remember I worked with an energy healer many, many years ago. And she would say there are stones. She was like, that stone, that crystal doesn't like you. That crystal doesn't want to be, which exactly, that was kind of my reaction at
I've
the
never heard
time
that, but
too,
I can
right?
understand.
Right, but like you think about it, and I remember to that effect, I was told once that, like, listen to the crystal. So like if you, for example, put a piece of jewelry on before you leave the house and it falls off, like
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't want to go with you that
And
day,
you don't give you
that
the
kind of a thing.
energy. So
Yeah,
yeah, it's so true. Same
exactly.
thing if like you have a bracelet on and you set an intention into it when it falls off, usually it's come true, or you don't need that energy, or you just don't need to be focusing on what that intention was anymore. It's not
Yes.
serving you. It's a yeah, it's definitely like a little like wisdom from the universe kind of telling you something we have to pay attention to.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. So do you have, I mean, so I don't know if we've touched on it yet, but your business that you've created is Waves of Prana.
Yes.
And I love the name. Can you tell me a little bit about how you came up with that name?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, as you know, prana is very big in yogic
Yes.
philosophy, and
Yes.
then the word, the energy, life force, life, the
Yep.
source of life, and flows through the chakras. So, I love that word prana. Um, I love it. I think it's such a beautiful word. It is a Hindu word,
Yep.
and I was really into yoga at that time too, and I was like, this is such a beautiful word. I'd love to use this word, and I was making a lot of ocean paintings at the time. So, really, at the time, it was waves, and like waves of
Yep.
like life, but also like physical ocean
Yeah.
and this life force energy, which is inside of us. Like we always have waves, whether it's tumultuous or it's calm. It kind of just pieced together in that way. So that's why I chose it.
That's awesome. I love
And I
that.
wanted
It's a
people to remember that they each have prana inside of them. Like we all have prana, and you can access it through your setting your intentions, and you can align it through setting intentions. And wearing a crystal can be kind of like your guide. So when you're putting the crystal on, it's your guide, but inside you really have the power already to align yourself.
100%. And one of the reasons, I mean, yoga is a huge, there's lots of different ways to help your energy, right? I'm a Reiki master as well. So
Oh
between
wow.
yoga, between Reiki, between crystal energy, there's so many different ways, but it starts with the intention setting, right? It all
Oh
starts with
yeah.
with the self-awareness and the awareness that, you want to feel better. For a lot of people, I think, when it comes to yoga specifically, and then when you're moving into, and that's kind of like I call it like the gateway, right? Like the gateway
Yeah,
drug is yoga for energetic
totally.
experiences, right? Because it gets you feeling into your body. Because let's face it, if you are not someone who has a practice of that depth of feel, or that kind of closing down the outside world to kind of tune in, if you go into a crystal shop and you pick up a crystal, you may not feel a lot out of the gate. And I think that some people have like a blockage, or there are people that don't believe that crystals do anything.
Mhm.
And it's like, well, they
Yeah.
physically, they prove that they carry an energy field. If you attach an electrode to certain crystals, things
Yes.
happen, right? So they do physically have an energy field, and they can physically, charge things. I'm not a scientist. I've never pretended to be one. So I'm not going to get into and if you have any insight on that, please do share, because I know that your amplified energy is working towards that. And I didn't actually know that resin amplified the quality of the stones, but that's amazing. And I
Mm.
absolutely love that. So, so to that end, question for you, how does and I know you said it's beautiful. It's, kind of like an aesthetic choice, but how, because you do a little bit of gold and silver, correct, as well,
Yeah,
inside the
this one doesn't
resin?
actually have any gold in it. This one actually is just quartz with well, there's angel aura quartz too. So flakes of
Okay.
angel aura, like an iridescent sheen, and mica
Yeah.
powder in
Yeah.
this one. But some of them have the gold leaf. Like here's, I can just pick it up and show you. It does
Yeah.
have the gold leaf in it. And that could be a
Beautiful.
conductor because metal is a conductor of the
Right.
stone, but that's not quartz, that's amazonite. And really, it's
Yes.
just like since resin is fluid when you're working with it, putting in gold leaf is just nice because it kind of goes in whichever direction it's going to go and then it hardens. And
Yep.
it's just kind of beautiful. People have been putting gold leaf into things like that for so long. That's just like a beautiful thing. I mean, I when I first created these, I had never seen them, so I sell on Etsy. I've been selling for 8 years now.
Yes.
Um, when I first started these, I had never seen anything like them. I think as the years have gone
I
on, there's
hadn't
been a lot
either.
more, but it's the gold leaf is really, I just put it in for that added effect. But the
Yeah.
crystal, of course, is I do sage my office and sage my studio here and make sure the crystals have clean energy, pure energy before I put them in. However, even when, even if you go into a crystal shop and you pick up a stone that's been touched by multiple people, um, you can cleanse it yourself with your own energy. I think we spoke about
Yes.
that. You can just hold
Yes,
it
but let's speak
and
about it again.
feel.
Yeah, please. So how do you cleanse your crystals, if you don't mind sharing for
Sure.
our listeners?
Well, sage is, I mean, definitely white sage is it's an indigenous practice. Indigenous people of America were using white sage out west for a long time to burn and cleanse negative energy away. So that is definitely a practice that is real, and you can burn sage, but you don't necessarily have to have something tangible like that. You can actually just do it with with your solar plexus, or kind of in between, I guess, right here. I will feel like a light kind of, you can emanate a light from yourself. You can picture, like, close your eyes, picture this light coming out of you, like in your aura bubble, hold the crystal to you, and just, ask for it to benefit you, ask for any negativity to be removed. And if you are peaceful in that moment, kind of like a meditative state, just setting that
Yeah.
intention, you can cleanse the stones and they will
Yeah.
serve you in that way. But if you prefer to do it in a physical way, you can put them in salt water. Um, or you can obviously put them outside in the full moon. That's really cool.
Yes.
But honestly, holding them and setting that intention with your mind, especially when you get a new stone or a new piece of jewelry, I always tell people, put your own intention into it. Like, tell the stone,
Yes.
like, what your hopes are, your dreams, like your goals. And it will also be a psychological effect for you too. When you're putting it on, you're going to remember, like, you're making that commitment to yourself. And
Yeah.
there, of course, is energy within the stone. Like, there absolutely is, and you can feel that. But it's also like a reminder, like a tangible commitment.
Yeah, no, it is. It's I love that. I think that's very, very well said. And so do you and when so what is your process? Like when you set out to make like a piece, let's just say a pendant, for example. What's your process from point A to point B? Do you set an intention for the pendant to, serve its highest use or whatever it might be? How do you go from, acquiring a stone, let's say at a stone shop to through the process of the end game of the pendant itself?
So yeah, I always I speak to people. I speak to people I buy from first, and a lot of the stones I do buy from will be like South America. I have some from Russia, and I speak with people usually on Etsy. There's a lot of people who will sell stones. You can speak with them personally, figure out where the stones are coming from. A lot of times it's like large pieces that they're trying to mine, like a large piece of amethyst, and they're just going to throw away the shavings so they can sell them for very cheap because it's like just literally the
So,
tiny pieces of the
yeah, yeah,
amethyst, and you're buying that, and they're so special, but they're just small, so nobody really wants them
yeah,
unless you're going to be doing something like a project with them.
right.
But when you acquire them, they've obviously been touched by people, and there could be negative energy, but it's very easy to just cleanse that by setting your own intention into it, saying a prayer over it essentially
Yeah,
too,
yeah,
and
absolutely.
tapping into your own wisdom and intuition, and kind of just cleansing it. So for me, when I make the piece, if I speak with somebody specifically and I'm making a custom piece, we'll talk about like issues they're having, and we'll kind of figure out what's the best crystal that's going to be like helping you in your journey right now that you can wear and really feel good about, and it's going to bring you that energy.
Yeah,
So maybe like a new mother, I would suggest pearl. Pearl is really great for mothers. Um, and so is Amazonite, because it's good for divine feminine and like
yes.
balancing the yin and the yang, the masculine and the feminine, like we talked
Yep,
about.
yep.
So maybe Amazonite and pearl together. I would pick those two out and cure them into the resin for her. And when she gets it, I would tell her, tell the pendant your fears, but also your hopes, your wishes, your dreams. Set that intention into it. And when you put it on, like, feel the energy like blessing you.
I love that. That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So talk to me a little bit because you mentioned you know, part of this is, trying to keep balance, right? I'm a huge, as a yoga instructor, I'm a huge like proponent of balance because life is chaos, right? Like life is chaotic. And you are now a mother of two, correct?
Yeah, two boys.
And two boys, and the oldest is 6, if
Yes.
memory serves. Yes.
Yeah,
And
that's
so
right.
there you go. It does work sometimes.
You remember.
And I did remember. And so and you started putting these jewelry. So you've been doing this resin art since before college, around
Yes.
college?
No, it was like right. I was after I no, I graduated college a long time ago, like 15 years ago. I want to say more than that. Actually, I can't even do math in my head right now. I'm trying to think. 12 years ago. Um, 12 years ago I graduated, but I know I've been doing resin art for I've been doing resin art for 8 years, or
Okay.
yeah, almost not eight, 9 years, big paintings. And
Okay,
then I started
perfect. Yeah.
this journey 7 years ago. So I started the
Got it.
pendants when I was pregnant, at the very beginning of being pregnant, so 7 years ago.
Oh wow. So this
Like
was
this,
literally, so you pivoted so you gave life to this as you were creating life,
yes,
kind of. That's
exactly
beautiful.
right. It was a very
That's
creative time
awesome.
of my life, and I was trying to figure it out, and it kind of just blossomed. And everybody asks where did it come from, and I'm like, I really don't even remember. It feels like a blur. It just kind of like gave life to both almost at once, and focused on my son a lot, of course, when he was born. But then
Of
as he got
course.
a little older, and then I was kind of like I took off with it too, just started doing this.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think that's amazing. So how do you strike a balance for yourself? Because it's not even, trying like, so now you're trying to have this amplified energy trademark. So now you're taking on the trademark universe, which is a whole, very talk about masculine energy. That's a very like,
Super
right. That's
masculine, very
super
government,
masculine,
lots of
right?
government. I don't really like working with the
Yes.
government, but thankfully my
Right.
husband works with the government a lot, so he was able to help me kind of figure that out. It's so funny.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I helped him tap. He actually has a lot of the feminine. He has a lot of the caring energy, but he is able to tap into that other too. But I would love to talk about that really quick because
Yeah,
it's
please, by all means.
yeah, actually talking today. So actually my sacral chakra is slightly blocked right now for sure. I know it. I can feel it
Oh,
because I have been so stressed in my life. I feel like I have so much, there's society, like we all have societal pressures. The world is kind of chaotic right now. I get stressed. I tap into like the news and I see what's going on. I get so sad. I get burdened by that. And then I have my kids. And they're the greatest blessings of my life, but that's pure chaos too. It's just, and that's, I embrace it, but it's like, oh my gosh, the whirlwind chaos. Like, and when you try to balance childcare or watch, I'm watching them with my business and having a small business, even if you don't have kids, having a small business is so chaotic too. That's can be a lot of
absolutely.
pressure we put on ourselves, a lot of striving for the next thing and not living in the present. Very, very wounded masculine energy. Um,
Yes.
I have felt all of those things recently, trying to be like, oh, I really have to get my business like in this direction as fast as I can. But then I find myself not having the time. And then this creativity, like this artist that lives inside of me, because I have this kind of chaotic artist, I say, that like lives inside of me. I feel like he's or he or she is like in a cage, like let me out, like
Oh,
this wild animal trying to get out to like, get to my art. But
yeah.
then so all of those things, that's like all chaos, that blocked my sacral chakra. And actually, this conversation with you was like so divinely timed when you reached out
You gotta
because it
love
made
it.
me. I was thinking about how I like need to unblock my energy, and I've been kind of just like going through the motions. And prior to our conversation, I started thinking about it even more. And I think the only antidote to solving this for all of us, really, if you have that stress and that blocked chakra, which I totally can resonate with, is like dropping into the present moment and just like if you drop into the present moment, you essentially, stop the mental warfare of trying to move forward as fast as you can, which is the masculine energy that's, hammering down our feminine energy because
Yes.
it's yeah, we feel like we can't rest and we have to keep moving as fast as we can. And yeah, I've totally felt trapped in that. But I realize even if all these crazy things are going on around me, I have the power to just like find that. There's a quote I love, like, peace is not um it being in a quiet environment. Peace is being in the middle of chaos and finding that the peace within your heart, dropping
Yes.
down into the present. So if I just like name three things I can feel or see, like, oh, I see you, I hear your voice, I feel myself sitting in a chair, I see
Yep.
the trees outside, and then I'm like, oh, I'm present, and that chaos can't really reach me in that moment. And that's I feel like
Yep.
that's really the only antidote. And I try, so it's practice.
It is. Everything is a practice, but I also think that, it's very, very true. And I've been working on that as well because stress for me, I in my quote unquote day job, and just at life, that balance of masculine and femininity, and feminine, that drive, right? Like that's all of us have to do that. We live, and there is a quote, and it's not by me, and I've mentioned it before. It's like, it was written by, I'm not even going to say it because I don't know, but the quote essentially says, enlightenment and then laundry. That's like the gist of the quote, right?
Yes,
Like you have these like
that's
these
so
like
good.
profound insights, and I did not coin that. I will deep dive. I will Google that and tag it
Oh, I
in
love
the
that.
post. And it is. And it's because we live in a 3D. We are still surrounded by mundane reality that is still a necessity for as balanced a life as we can create in that 3D reality. So we still need to pay our taxes to the governmental entities, right? We still need to put gas in our trucks and food in our bellies
The
and roofs over
dishes,
our
right?
heads, the dishes, the lawn, all of
I
those
was
things.
just thinking about that too. It's like exactly what you said, laundry and dishes. I was thinking about those two things because I was like, every single person in the world, if you're blessed enough to have a washing machine and a dishwasher, oh my gosh, like that's a blessing, but I take it for granted. But if
Right.
you have those things and these things are piling up, if you just like let it be a stressor to you, it'll just affect you so negatively. But if you think of it as a blessing, like I've had clean clothes, my family's had clean clothes to wear all week. We've had
Yep.
food in our bellies all week. This is a blessing to see these things. The opposite would be no dishes because nobody's eating, and that's
Right.
awful. So it's like totally perspective, and that's how we unblock it, right? Like that's how you unblock,
Yes.
that's how you remove the stress. And it's hard. It's easier said than done, but
It is, but it's a practice too. It's flipping the script. It's
yes.
exactly what you just said, and it's
And it's
about
dropping back in, like, okay, I'm here and I can handle this. And it's a gift to like see these dishes in a way because it's like I'm feeding myself and feeding my kids. Like that's a gift. That's a blessing. If I think of
yeah,
it like that, I feel this lightness.
yes, yes, and it is a blessing, and having a car to put gas in is a blessing,
Yeah,
right?
it really
Like,
is.
and so having that, again, I say this almost every episode, trite but true. It's trite for a reason, like the attitude of gratitude, like that.
Oh,
Just and gratitude, I think in and of itself is very divinely feminine because it's being grateful is receptive energy. You cannot be grateful and not be receptive because you are giving thanks for the receipt of
I
something,
love
even
that.
if it's dirty dishes,
I love
right?
that.
Like, so if you to tap into that divine, and I've been working for my own self a lot on being the calm within the storm. There's been a lot of chaos around me from like the day job stuff recently that I've
Oh
been
yeah.
going through. And I've really been kind of diving into, for me, a lot. And as a yoga instructor, it's the breath, like coming back to the breath as another way to drop into your body and drop into the present moment
Mm-hmm.
is tapping in, like hands on the heart, hands on the solar plexus
Love
works
that.
really well for breath too, right? Your diaphragm is right at your solar plexus, and just breathe into your hands, close your eyes if you want to, focus on, look at one of your beautiful pendants, hold something, whatever it might be,
I love that.
and really tap into, I'm safe in this moment. Like I'm safe.
Exactly. I'm safe. That's the best thing you can say. I am safe. And it's
Yes.
like what you described as like a tool belt. And it's like if you fall off the wagon, you feel in chaos, it's okay because it happens to all of us. It's okay to feel this chaos. But like you said, if you have a tool belt of breath or, your meditative practice and you're wearing your tool belt, you can say, oh my gosh, I'm feeling like totally untethered and crazy and stressed. I'll pull from my tool belt. I'll just sit for a second and take a breath. And then it's like it's all okay because you can just start over again. You can always start over and find that peace. Like it's okay if you are a peaceful person and feel tumultuous. I tell
Yeah.
myself that too. I'm like, it's all right if you have a day or a moment, as long as you remember, like, I have the tools to get back to alignment.
Yeah. And it's also, the chaos is always there, right? Chaos is
Always.
always there.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what it is, it's always there. The peace is also always there.
Yes. It's so
And
true. That's exactly right.
when people say choose peace, it's really easy to say that. And then when you're in the throes of whatever it is, like the kids are running around. For me, I have two dogs that drive me absolutely. One of them's a
Yeah.
hound and he just
They are
howls. He's
kids
very
too.
loud. Like it's very loud.
Oh
I
yeah.
have to
They're
lock myself in
stimulating.
my office and put noise canceling headphones on to get anything done. But you have this the chaos is all around and it never stops. The peace is always within, and it's always within you. And so that's why the hand on the body somewhere is
I'm
very
gonna do it now.
helpful. Yeah, do it, do it now. Let's do it together, right? But the peace is always within us,
Yes. I
and
love that.
you just have to quiet down. It can be a moment, it can be 5 minutes, and a meditation practice is, the traditional way for that. But as you start to develop that, I've been working on calming and yes about peace, but also like kind of coming from like almost like a steadier heartbeat, almost like a calmer baseline, and trying
Mm.
to have and trying to make that my baseline. So when I start to spiral, when I start to focus on the negative, when I start to, I'm like a big what if person, right? Which is
Yes.
not good, but it's like,
Me
well, this could
too.
go wrong, that could go wrong, right?
I
And that's
know.
a
You have to,
very
yeah.
feminine thing, right? Like I
Yes,
think women
exactly.
are much more worrisome overall
Yeah,
than,
because
and
you're
I don't want to say
protective.
than men, but
You're trying to protect things. So you're like, well, what could go wrong? I need to protect things that I love and myself and
exactly.
everybody around me.
Yeah, so it creates this like ADD fracture of like all of the things that could possibly go wrong. And then they say like worry is a prayer for what you don't want to happen. So now you're projecting out into the universe
Yeah,
all of these things that you don't want to happen, right?
exactly.
And so that, but it's also coming from that masculine energy where you're now projecting, right? So we're yes, these are potential. Anything is possible, right? Anything is literally possible. We could both get hit by a meteor right now, in theory,
Yeah.
right? Like anything is possible. But at the same time, in this moment, currently, you're in your studio, I'm in my office, we're both safe, right? And if we can establish that baseline, your body and your mind, your heart, they're muscles just like your
I love
bicep.
that.
And
I
if
love it
you
that you just
start
drop. You're like
drop,
the tension goes away because that is such a great idea too. Because I need to embody that, like having that baseline, and then when you're not on baseline, when you're stressed, your body probably feels like this isn't right. Because if stress becomes your baseline, it's harder to break out of it.
yeah, it is. And that's why anytime, any little practice that you can do, and I breathe audibly when I get upset or if I get like mad or angry or whatever, like I'll be,
Yeah, I do too. I'm like,
you know what I mean? Like a lot of people do, and that's like a great first step. But like if you catch yourself doing that, that can be your trigger, right? Your bracelet that may fall off one day because you've practiced that enough
yeah,
to
that's right.
know
I love
that
that.
that
To tie
that
it back together, it's so true. It's like
right,
you
like
finally, yeah. And if you do fall
it's
off the wagon or fall off, not the wagon, I guess, but if you're falling off like the peace train, I guess.
yeah, I love the peace train. I love that.
We all want to be on the peace train. So if we fall
We
off
all
the
want to
peace
be on the
train,
peace
we can
train.
get back on, do our breath, and then we're back on it. So
Exactly. And just trying to cultivate a baseline for yourself that is more calm so that, the more you practice, the more calm you are during your day, the better businesswoman you are, the better mom you are, the better wife you are, the better,
yes,
dog parent you are, right?
dog
Like the
mom. Yeah,
better.
like being a dog mom. I love my dog just as much. Like side note, everyone says like, do you like not care about your dog? No, you have kids, and I'm like, she's my first baby. She's 11, and I'm like, she
Oh,
has a kid. I have three kids, so
yes,
yeah, she's a
yes. She
child. She
was
absolutely
she
is
was
a
the
child. I love
firstborn.
her.
Yes,
She's my child
100%.
too. I adore
Well, and
her.
she's been with you. You created this business like
Yeah,
with her by your side because your
my
your your
entire
son was
yeah.
still in your belly, right? So she
Oh
was there
yeah,
there
no,
with
she's been with
you.
me for like a lot of my adult life. Yeah, she's been with me forever, and it's like she's a being. We have a soul contract. I know we do. I know
Yep.
she has a soul, and I know that we are like tied together in that way, and we'll be together in the afterlife too. I know people think, oh, like animals might they're not as important as humans, but that's just not true. We all have a soul. Everything on earth. I mean, yeah,
Yes.
she's very much has her own little wisdom.
They always do. And they're I mean, dogs are very, very special. All animals are very, very special, but I have an affinity for dogs, right? They are our protectors. They are our,
Yeah.
they teach us above I think any other animals on planet Earth, dogs teach us unconditional love. Even
Yes.
more so than cats, because cats teach us unconditional indifference. And I love cats.
Yeah, cats teach us patience, maybe. I don't know. I had a cat growing up and I loved her. She liked me. She liked women, but she didn't really like men. So like if a man came into the house, she would hide under like a desk and like attack their leg and run away. And I was like, that's just how she is. Like, I mean, we don't judge, but I don't know. I don't know. Like
No,
we adopted her, so she probably had some trauma and she was
from
working through
trauma. Yeah, that's the unhealed feminine, right?
it.
Like,
Yeah, it was.
but yeah, so we have this like, and I don't, again, like dogs are so unconditionally loving that I think if we aspire to be even one iota close to like their compassion, their level of compassion and love, we're doing great in this life. We're just doing
I love
fabulously.
that. That's so true. She's such a guide to me. Like she's such a blessing when I take time alone with her and take just her on a walk and like have time with her. It's just like I do feel like I drop into the present because she just wants to sniff and she wants to see what's going on in the world in this very present moment. She's not worried about the future. Maybe she's worried at dinner time, like, it's 5 o'clock, where's my dinner? Like that's the only time. But otherwise she's very present. They live in the
Absolutely.
present.
They do. And we can learn all animals live in the present, and we can learn so much from that. We're the only, I think we may very well be the only ones that don't, right? As
Yeah. Oh
humans,
my
we
God.
we, we
I think
think
we
we're
evolved
advanced, but
too
we're
much.
not so much. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, I
It's
agree.
really,
It's
it's
like
the other way.
we're like not symbiotic with nature sometimes, and we're not symbiotic with like being just like we're so complex at this point. Humans are so complex that like simplicity used to be, I guess, well, life was harder, of course, for our with mega ancestors who were,
Right.
hunting and gathering. That was life was much harder, but there wasn't worry about like I feel like this competition and this rat race obviously wasn't a thing in
No.
our brains. I don't know if our brains have really caught up to handle it without feeling all that stress, which then affects the body physically.
Right. And that's where, like, that's where you get into like the whole disease conversation of like
Yes,
stress manifests in the body,
disease.
and that's
Like, yeah,
disease. Exactly. 100%.
exactly.
And that's one of the reasons why I do this podcast is, it's yoga, it's nutrition, it's meditation, it's the
I
it's
love
the
that.
things that try to get people back into their body, back into paying attention to like the tangible reality of what like really matters. Because at the end of the day, if you don't have your health,
That's it.
right, that's it. Because you can be the best, you can be the best mom, you can be the best female entrepreneur, you can have the most successful business, and if, knock on wood, God forbid, something happens physically, you know you have
It's
a
the
health
only that would
scare.
matter to you. Yeah, it's like your health. If you don't have your health, that's the one thing you wish for, so you can take care of, the ones you love, do things that you want to that you love.
Yeah.
Do you have recommendations for like yoga poses for opening that solar plexus and kind of getting back into your divine feminine?
Absolutely. So I did the first episode of this sequence was all about the solar plexus chakra. And it's very close to heart openers, right? Because it's just beneath the heart chakra, twisting. And so what I did for that particular episode, and I won't go totally back to deep dive it, but the short version is that there's two, I brought up the divine masculine and feminine, right? Because it's the solar plexus chakra and we're
Yeah.
talking about heat. So with all chakras, as you were talking about the block chakra potentially of the sacral, right? Which is the creative chakra. So for you, that's a super important chakra, right? Because
Yes.
you're creating these beautiful pieces of art that are serving other people's energies. So it's a massive, I don't know if you know like the weight of the task that you've given yourself, but you are bringing divinity and you are bringing amplification of energy to
Yeah.
other people. So you're doing something, we're not doing very dissimilar things, just in different ways. And yours is much more
Yeah. Yeah.
tangible,
Mhm.
right? So it's a gift. What you're doing is truly a gift. But essentially, we talk about imbalance and balance. So you can have a block chakra, you can have an overactive chakra that actually pulls energy from the chakra around it, and you can have an underactive chakra that's not developed, or that's again having energy, I'll say, reappropriated by an overactive chakra.
Interesting.
So that's one way to look at it as well. And yoga is one of the best ways for people that maybe don't have the sense, or aren't checking in daily either through Reiki or their own pendulum practice, however you balance your own chakras,
Absolutely. Because
right?
like I've always been told my crown and my third eye are very open actually. So for me, it's like
Yes.
I am very very in tune with the spirituality and with this my intuition. But then my throat chakra, I do believe, is either just underactive as well. And I'm what I call a recovering people pleaser, recovering
Yes.
because I'm aware of it. I think I think women specifically, men too, but a lot of women and people who identify
Absolutely.
as women are people pleasers because you feel like you have to be submissive and kind of compliant and you can't stand out too much. You can't say no. You can't, you know, disrupt too much. And then that's BS because
Yes.
you are allowed to take up space. You are allowed to speak your mind, follow your truth. And that's something for me that I've worked on.
Yes.
So yeah, and the sacral too. I know my sacral it's active, but I do feel like when I get that stress, it gets like, it gets tense and I have to get out of that space to get out of it, to open it up before I can work, like you said. Because I feel
Yeah.
like the creativity will not flow and I will not work if I'm not feeling creative. I'm not gonna force it until it
No.
opens. And when I find a
Yeah.
moment of peace, which is actually as simple as walking my dog around the block just with her, I feel like all of my chakras will just kind of align, I swear, when I'm just alone with her or in nature,
Yep.
just with myself. And then I can get back to my family and like be the best version of myself.
Yeah, exactly. And you need to have that balance. And so when I was talking about, and it's so funny, so the first episode of this sequence about the solar plexus chakra was called Stop Apologizing, and
Yeah.
with an exclamation point. And it was exactly about what you just said. And it's like, take up space, like you are allowed to be and to speak and to have a voice. And turquoise is a really good crystal for a throat
Anything
chakra.
blue, really,
Anything
anything blue
blue,
because of the,
lapis lazuli. Yep, yep,
yes,
exactly.
exactly. It's
Um,
amazing how stones are associated with the chakras. Like as I've studied them, they really, and that makes sense because the ancient yogis knew the energy obviously was
yeah.
associated with a certain color, and then there's no coincidence that certain stones are going to be helping you with that energy.
Right. And when I practice Reiki, I generally like I will before I go to a client that I've already worked on, I will go through my crystal collection and I will either just energetically or with a pendulum, I will bring the stones that I think that they need and I'll place them on their different chakras, on their bodies. Unless they have like let's say an injury on the shoulder, I might place it on there, but generally it's on the chakras to bring them into balance
Mm-hmm.
and alignment. So when we talked about yoga poses for that for the solar plexus chakra specifically, there's the yin and the yang, right? The male and the female. And so for restorative and more calming, soothing, bringing maybe an overactive, like let's say that you went through a day where you chose that you had to deal with the government about the trademark issue, right? I would come back, I would come back and I would do some twisting. So twisting is a nice gentle opening kind of think of wringing out the body to release
Mm-hmm.
that space. It releases tension in the back.
Mm.
And then if you let's say felt like you needed to get some drive, maybe you have a little bit of low energy, then you're thinking about your like your warriors, right? Opening this
Yes.
space, feeling
Okay.
that strength, feeling that
Mm.
bringing your awareness boat pose, Navasana, strengthening your core muscles, really burning that fire feeling. And then that's going to bring the masculine aspect up, right? So depending on what you need, depends on which poses are going to best suit. But I do want to mention for you also that when we're talking about your throat chakra and potentially having an underactive or like maybe a little imbalance there, your chakras are directly related to the opposing chakras. So your crown and your root are connected, your third eye and your sacral are connected, and your throat and your solar plexus, ironically enough, are connected. And the heart is the bridge, as I like to say, for all of them. So if you're thinking about, like, as we're talking about the solar plexus chakra, I think that one of the best ways, a really great balancing pose for both is fish pose. If you're familiar with yoga and you're familiar with
No,
fish pose.
I'm not actually familiar with fish pose.
Really? Okay. Okay. I love fish pose. So I will give it's not I don't usually do the descriptions, but I will give you the description. As long as you have okay, I have a neck injury, but as long as your neck is okay and you can do this supported, and I definitely suggest supported, but fish pose is where you arch the upper back and you open the throat and you balance on the crown of the head. So
Okay.
and what I like to do is I like to take a pillow or a bolster and basically from the base of the skull through the back of the heart center, bra line-ish, lift up, and then you can relax, and then you release the shoulders open, the throat is opening
Interesting.
and
Okay.
stretched. You don't want any tension or pain in the neck ever. And then you can either have your legs out flat, or if you want to be a little more aggressive about it, you can put your hands behind your sacrum, press your elbows in, and do it unsupported. And then it's more of a workout for the
Mm.
triceps a little bit. The elbows press your chest up, and you're just resting the crown of the head.
Interesting. That's
So
interesting. It's very opening.
it
I can see
it's
it. Everything's
opening, it's a
open.
heart opener, it's a throat
Love
opener,
that.
and it the solar plexus is like kind of the focal point doing most of the work. So it's a great one for almost, I will even say, balancing the masculine and feminine, because it can be as aggressive or as restorative as you want it to be, depending on what you feel you need.
I love that. No, that's so interesting. I'm gonna have to look that one up too. And you explained it very well. So
I
that's
hope
great.
I hope so.
You
And I know
did.
I think I
You
have a
really
couple
did.
videos. Fish might actually be because I had suggested taking shavasana in fish, propped up, obviously not in the working aspect of the pose. But
Yeah.
so I think I did post a video on that one on this particular podcast in association with the Years Above Yoga
Wonderful.
Instagram as well. So before we wrap up, I definitely want everyone to be able to reach out to you and find you and your beautiful artwork. One more question for you. Do you have a favorite? I already mentioned to you when we were going back and forth that I'm super into the empath protection pendant that you have. I was about to say crystal, but it's a can you mention that quickly and then tell me what your favorite what is if you have one?
Yes. Well, that's so fun. I'm an empath as well. I mean, I think we have so much similarity. I think we could both
Yes.
garner that we're both empaths. But yeah, I am very partial to tourmaline for that reason. Black
Yep.
tourmaline is a wonderful empath protection stone, which is going to help you block out energy vampires, but also just preserve your own energy. Like it's a lot about protecting your own. Black tourmaline's wonderful for protection. My favorite though is actually I really love turquoise and pearl. Turquoise and pearl together. I love
Ooh,
turquoise. It's very enlightening. It's very, very throat chakra opening, but it's also very spiritual. It's very associated with the upper chakras and connecting you to spirituality and enlightenment.
yes.
Indigenous Americans also would use it in their in spirituality and considered a very magical, very powerful stone. And it certainly is. And pearl I love just because it's cool when you mix the two together. But pearl is actually
Yeah.
a very good stone for tranquility and peace, but also new beginnings. Obviously, the way pearl is created, um,
Yes.
it's not really a crystal or a stone, but it is still it's an incredible piece, made by a living organism out of a piece of sand. So here's one actually right here. It's turquoise and pearl.
Oh, it's beautiful.
This is one of my favorites. The energy is very soothing and calming, but it's also very uplifting. It's going to be bringing you up to those chakras.
Yes.
But yeah, the other one, I don't have it here, but it would be actually the black tourmaline. Which one were you looking at? Which one did you like? Was
There
it
was the empath protection stone.
black or was it
There
watermelon?
was it was it was black and pink. The
Pink.
pendant itself was black and pink.
Yes. Well, I would love to make one and send it to you. So if you have a
Oh
certain
my
shape,
gosh,
let's
that's
talk
amazing.
afterwards. But
Yes, we will talk afterwards for
yes,
sure.
but
No, I
watermelon
love that.
tourmaline, any
And
kind of
I've always
tourmaline.
wanted a watermelon. I have a piece of black tourmaline that I actually usually wear with this. I don't have it on right now because the chain got a little twisted. But watermelon tourmaline, I've never owned a piece, and I've always thought it was just so beautiful. It's such a
It is
cool because
amazing.
it's got the green on the outside and the it literally looks like watermelon
It
and pink
looks
on
like
the
a
inside.
watermelon, green, pink, and
It's
white and black. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. So, will you please tell our viewers how they can find you, how they can shop with you, how they can connect with you if they want to
Sure.
potentially create their own either organite pyramid to protect themselves or one of the beautiful pieces of jewelry to kind of
Oh yeah.
uplift and bring attention and send it. There you go. It's gorgeous. I mean, how
Thank
beautiful
you
is
so
that?
much. I mean, yeah, these are really cool to have on your desk. This one has citrine
Yes.
on the very top. There's like a big piece of citrine.
Yes, it's
But yeah,
beautiful.
so I'm on Instagram. It's pretty easy to access me on there because I check my messages pretty frequently. It will go directly to me. It's Waves of Prana Art. Waves like ocean waves of Prana, Prana art. And then from there, I have a link to my Etsy, so you can buy things on my Etsy page that way.
Perfect.
And I'm currently building a website right now, which is very exciting. So I'm going to have my own website, which will have all of my newer pieces, and that will just be announced through my Instagram. It'll be on there, and
Awesome.
through there, I'm going to be having custom, kind of like an application for custom pieces where we can actually meet and talk with somebody for like a 30-minute period. We can talk about things that you're going through and certain crystals you're looking for. We can kind of do like a crystal prescription, I'm calling it,
I love that.
to help you figure out the best pendant for you, something that you can wear and set an intention into. Yeah, because we talked about it's also psychology. It's when you're putting it on, you're reminding yourself, I'm making this commitment to myself. And if
Yep.
I'm nervous and in a moment, I can have a tangible reminder, I can hold it. So it's kind of like a little custom thing that somebody can make for themselves. And that's going to be an option on the website, but
I
you can,
love
of
that.
course, message me on Instagram. People request custom pendants all the time via Etsy or Instagram.
And they are absolutely beautiful,
Thank
and
you.
we will definitely make sure that we get an image of your favorite one or whichever you choose up when I post this.
Thank you.
So thank you so much for being with us today and sharing your story and how you came upon all this. And I mean, your work is so beautiful, it's so special, so I
Thank you,
want to
Gia. It was
thank
so
you so
lovely talking
much.
to you. You have
It's
so much wisdom. I feel so much lighter and happier after speaking with you. You are
Oh,
so
thank
wise, and I feel
you.
like I've learned so much. So thank you.
That is truly an honor. Thank you so much for sharing that. I'm gonna blush under my makeup. I'm blushing, I promise. And I just want to say that I appreciate each and every one of you for sharing this space with me and ask that you please feel free to share the same with your loved ones. For more goodness, follow me on all the socials at Above the Ground Podcast and visit my website, airsaboveyoga.com. As always, please don't forget to check out all my other episodes and my amazing sisters at Divas That Care. You can find us on Spotify, Odyssey, Apple, Amazon, iHeartRadio, and anywhere else that you might feel guided. Again, my name is Gia-Raquel Rose, owner of Airs Above Yoga, and you are listening to Above the Ground podcast, where every day is a good one.